reunite with family members who had preceded them to the United States. The chance that Nordstrom or Dang or any of the others could in fact accomplish their migration goals depended on their ability to navigate multiple intersecting dynamics, both in the places they sought to leave and in the place they hoped to enter, the United States. Governments, motivated by a mix of popular cultural and social attitudes, economic imperatives, and foreign policy concerns, could make it easier or harder for immigrants to leave or enter. Immigrants called on the latest in communications technologies to learn of opportunities in the United States and to arrange their travels and resettlement plans. They also depended on transportation networks at both ends of their journeys to ease their passage across borders and facilitate their resettlement. Whether in the mid-19th century, when John Nordstrom grabbed a shovel in Michigan, or the early 21st, when Ashu Dang picked up her meat cleaver in the pork plant in South Dakota, and indeed in centuries earlier, immigrants stoked the material, physical, social, and cultural development of the United States. The vast growth of the American economy depended on the willingness of individuals to leave their homes elsewhere and exchange their physical strength and mental acuity for pay. The kinds of work they performed changed, but the recognition that without them the work could not get done persisted. Away from their jobs, in their communities every day, those same immigrants brought much to America's social fabric, both reinforcing and reinventing it. Yet at the same time, Americans consistently articulated deep fears that every new contingent of immigrants threatened the United States. Such arguments might seem inconsistent with historic realities, but at each moment in time, some Americans expressed the opinion, stating it as fact, that newcomers took work away from Americans by selling their labor for low rates of pay. They likewise, throughout this long history, deemed all or some immigrants to be less desirable, more dangerous, and more markedly defective than the ones who came before. At various times, Americans feared and reviled the political beliefs, religious practices, and physical appearances of the newcomers. Some Americans abhorred immigrants as speakers of languages other than English, as bearers of cultures that seemed to jar with American ways of living, and as women and men still tied to their faraway communities. And yet, women and men from around the world voted for America with their feet. If they could make their way to America, they did. In the colonial period, indentured servants recruited from England, Scotland, Ireland, and various German-speaking states arrived, women and men who provided the labor to farm the soil of North America. In the 19th century, men from Ireland, Central, Eastern, and Southern Europe, Mexico, China, and India entered the United States, willing to dynamite the earth, blast away at the mountains, and lay the tracks to build a network of canals, roads, and railroads. They were joined by Irish Catholic women who labored in the homes of Americans, cooking, cleaning, and tending children. In the 20th century, immigrants, largely from Europe, worked the industries that spat out mammoth amounts of textiles, garments, machines, rubber, steel, and automobiles, while newcomers, many from Mexico and the Caribbean, harvested and processed the food that found its way to dinner tables across the country. In the 21st century, Chinese, Indian, Mexican, and Central American newcomers continue to do some of the most difficult and least desirable, but absolutely crucial, work in the country. These are only some of the stories of the newcomers who inhabit this book. As these examples suggest, we give primary significance to the economic matters in explaining the United States immigration history. The declining chances of women and men of particular classes and regions to make a living at home motivated many to leave their current place of residence. North America's labor needs, meanwhile, drew them in particular to the United States. All this occurred within, and often because of, the interconnected global economy that knit together people and regions around the world. The economic context was, and remains today, a vital